this is Ryan here. I will be reviewing the latest album from Sampha called Process. Now I know it's months late, but who cares? There's no time limit on when we can talk about albums. If it's great, it's great. If it's not great, it's not great. Just talk about it when you're ready. And today I am ready for this album. And the main reason why I'm talking about it now is because it's turning out to be one of my favourites of the year. It's been out a few months now, and I still feel like it's going to be really high on my year-end list by the time we end 2017, because it's going to be hard to beat this one. This is quite a special album, I think. Now, Sampha, he has been around for many years. He came around in about 2011, did a few features. One of the best features he's ever done was the one with Subtract called Hold On. That's an amazing song and still holds up today, I believe. And he also even did some collaborations with Drake, which kind of put him on the map, I think. But even that was like 2013, so 4 years later, we finally have an album. I mean, yeah, sure, we had his feature with Solange last year, which was pretty great as well. But to wait this long for a full-length album is pretty crazy. I just can't believe it's taken so long. But in some ways, I kind of respect that, because now we have this album and it's turned out to be fantastic. The album kicks off with Plastic 100 Degrees Celsius, which has this quite eerie but twinkly beat at the same time. It's quite incredible how he managed to mix those two sounds together, and it still sounds pretty great. And of course, we have Sampha doing his usual vocal style over this beat. And one thing that you've got to realize about Sampha is that he can basically sing over any kind of beat, because this album does have quite a similar vibe throughout, but a lot of these songs like take different turns, and they kind of have different sounds to them, but Sampha each time is able to just sound great over them, and it's pretty amazing. I think Sampha today, honestly, is becoming one of the most underrated and underappreciated vocalists around, because I would put him up there in like the top 10, I would say, of today's generation. This album is filled with gorgeous piano ballads, and each one just has an interesting way of resonating with you. Sampha has quite a unique way with his lyrics, especially on No One Knows Me Like the Piano. He's literally singing his heart out about his piano, and it's you can see that he has that relationship with the piano because of all the songs on this album where he just sings over these piano instrumentals in such a perfect way. And yeah, I think Sampha really knows how to keep you emotionally invested in all these songs. And if that isn't enough for you, then we even have the track Blood on Me, which is far more upbeat and has this fantastic drum beat across the track. And it's just showing that he has versatility, because he's able to have this incredibly fast-paced track and it still fits in well with the album, and it's incredibly catchy. And it's just showing that Sampha has so many ideas, and I love musicians that are able to show you so many different sides to them. They can show you their heart, they can show you their their emotions, but yet they can also prove to you that they know how to create and craft an incredibly catchy song as well. As I was saying with Sampha and his emotions, we do have the track Timmy's Prayer, where on the chorus Sampha opens up, and he's willing to admit that he's made mistakes, and he says on the chorus, "I've messed up," and he's talking about going to heaven, and how there's really no way to escape, and it's quite interesting. And yeah, it's just telling that Sampha, has no fear and just admitting, he has done wrong as well. And it's quite hard for people to do that, and especially in a song. And I think it's something that we should appreciate, especially in the music form, I think. Then we have the track Reverse Faults, where once again Sampha is, just admitting that there is just a fault within his structure. There's just not something quite right, and that essentially leads to the breakdown of a relationship. And throughout this song, he talks a lot about blame and all the kind of problems that happened in this relationship. And it really seems like he's referencing an actual time, because he's talking a lot about, the events that happened when this relationship just broke down. And it's just really quite something. I mean, usually singer-songwriters might write about how a relationship has broken down, but this is just a really new way of doing it, where he's kind of, it seems a little bit over dramatic where he's talking about it, but it also just feels so real because of the way Sampha sings, and his vocals just kind of haunt you in a way because of what he's saying, and it's really quite scary at the same time. And with all these emotions flying around this album, I think it's safe to say that with the title of the album being called Process, I think Sampha is literally attempting to process everything that's been going on in his life. I think that is basically the best summary you can say with this album. I think, with the last song called What Shouldn't I Be, it's just kind of like a really morbid question to ask, because it's like, well, he's not questioning, other people. He's just basically saying that what is it about me that shouldn't be there, What is it that I'm doing wrong? And it's kind of like there's no resolution to this album, which is really somewhat quite depressing, but I don't know, I think this kind of writing technique that he uses, where his emotions are just out there, on display, is really something to admire quite a lot. And again, I think this album will end up being one of the greatest of the year because of that. I think there's no other singer-songwriter out there that can just display their emotions like this. And yeah, Sampha, Process, an album that I keep recommending to everyone I know, and you should be listening to it too. So if you want to hear more reviews, make sure you subscribe, and have a good day.